welcome to episode 2. I was at Tian's house in the room, and I was trying to go to sleep, but I couldn't go to sleep. So, like when you're up and then you're not really up. I remember going to work that day when I was working at the credit union, and I got home, and for whatever reason, I just couldn't go to sleep. And my mom was in the living room, and I was like, man, what's going on? So my grandmother, my dad's mom, ended up calling her and was like, y'all gotta get to the hospital. And I'm like, this is why I couldn't go to sleep. So in the process, I was like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. Like, nah, I don't want to do that. And so we just talked to, I think my mom talked to Uncle Ronnie maybe, or Uncle B, just trying to see, like, what was going on, like, why he was in the hospital, this, that, and the third. Because, like, maybe a couple days before that, he was just in the hospital. And now my dad was a big man, so he suffered with diabetes. He had to do insulin. Like, he taught us how to give him the pen and stuff like that. I was in 5th grade, and Rick was in 4th grade, I believe. Like, when we first started to do that. And so, like, he taught us, like, what to put the little pin on, and I was always, like, nervous to do it. Like, I never wanted to do it. So, like, that's just to give y'all, like, an insight of, like, what it was like, really. Funny man. Every weekend in the summer, like, he would boil crawfish, boil meat, do barbecue, like a host of things, like, every weekend. And people would come and fellowship, and hang out and have a good time. Y'all, we had, like, the best times at my dad's house. And, like, all the kids wanted to come to our house. Like, anybody that knows us, like, they grew up in Walker, like, comment down below and let us know, like, if you ever came to our house to play basketball, jump on the trampoline, swim. Because we were the first, like, with a lot in the neighborhood. Like, we was the first one to have a above ground pool, first to have a trampoline, first to have the 3-wheel, first to have 4s, like, kids stuff. And so, like, everybody would come over, we'll box in the field. Like, we had a good time. Like, and to this day, like, some of the people we grew up with, like, we're still cool with. Some people we not, and that's just growth. But it's all love. It ain't no ill will or nothing like that. But hey, you just grow out of certain mindsets, and you just mature in different ways. So this particular night, like, I couldn't sleep. So when he was in the hospital a couple of days before the actual time where he was no longer going to leave the hospital, like, he was talking with his nurses, having a grand time. And what's crazy is, like, that whole day, like, I didn't eat. And crazy thing, only thing I really had was a smoothie. And I gotta make that reference because the smoothie that I had was a strawberry banana smoothie from Smoothie King. And any of you that know, it's not called strawberry banana. It's actually called angel food. And I had to say that because that's the only thing that I ate that whole day. And just thinking about that was just like, man, that's so crazy. Like, I'm gonna get into it. So it's like, that's just so crazy. But boom. So he comes home, then go back, and we're like, man, like, geez, like, why, man? What's going on? So long story short, like, we get to the hospital, and we know it's not good, y'all. Like, you could just tell, like, the vibe of the hospital, like, everything. And so like we finally see our grandmother, see other family and stuff like that, and everybody's in the waiting room. Like we waiting to go back. And what's crazy, like a couple months before that, like my Uncle Reggie had passed. We miss you, Uncle Reggie. We love you. And I remember telling Tian, I was like, man, I don't think my dad gonna be here long, cause him and Uncle Reggie was just like ace boom coons, like tight. And I was just like, dang. I remember my dad just sitting in the middle of his driveway when that happened, and it was like, yo, like this is so crazy. And so then we get to the hospital, seeing everybody in the waiting room, and we go to my dad's room, y'all. And this is where the chain of events start. Okay, so we get in the room, and I'm gonna put it to this, like, you know when the Lord is present in the room, because certain energies, if it's not aligned with the Holy Spirit, it is not going to be comfortable in this setting. So I remember walking in my dad's room. My grandmother was to the left side of the bed. We were on the right side. It was my mom and my brother Rick. And I remember like the room just being like a dim light like this, not as bright, but like a simmer dim. And like my papa walked in, and he did not like that. And so like he stayed in the room a little bit, and he was like, oh, and his like vibe wasn't right. And so he walks out the room, and then my mom was right there, and I was like, dang, man, like, what is this? Like, just seeing his parents in the room, like, we know it's not good. So I remember, like, my mom was, like, behind me, and y'all, like, this whole process, I'm, like, hitting on my legs like this, like, every time somebody was like, God bless him, cover him, Lord protect him, like, stuff like that, my body, for whatever reason, y'all, I was just like hitting my body. And I just remember that. And the doctor came in, they put the little tube in his ear, cold water, to see like if his eyes would move or like blink or react to the coldness. It did not. And so we knew like, oh my God, like this is about to be a thing. And so I remember we were in the room and just talking and stuff like that. And I remember I told my brother Rick, I was like, whatever you want to tell him, tell it to him in his ear. Nobody in this room have to hear what you got to say, but you got to do that for you, because this is his biological father. And Rick do that, and shout out to Rick. I love you, bro. He actually speak about that in his July 7th album. So put it in here, the title of the song that I'm referencing, where he talks about what he said.
My son make the wrong choice. That nigga smart, he just too kind hard. Make sure he leave them niggas alone, keep up my cars and yard, and make sure that he keep his joy. Lord, I hate to leave my boy, but I won't miss your calling. Can't help but understand. Just wish we could've talked with a hug and said I love you, man. But you had a different plan. I'm gonna miss my little nigga, man. That's what I felt when I grabbed his hand.
And then they have to immediately take my dad to the next floor, which is like the hospice floor, because I think his heart ended up stopping or something like that. So I remember them rolling him out the room, and it made like a L shape, and T-Tony and I believe Ebony was coming out the room, T-Joe, and we were all walking down the hall, and to the point of the L, there was another old man in that room. And I just remember raising my hand up, and I was like, Lord, whatever it is that man needs, let it be done. And I can hear the people in the room like, oh my God, his vital signs are going up, like that hasn't happened. Like, I can hear them saying this, but my body and my, like I'm talking to y'all, that was not how I was. Like, I was so full in the spirit to where they literally, y'all, had to carry me. And my family that was there, comment in the comments down below and verify this. And so they put him in the elevator to take him to the hospice floor. And my uncle didn't want them to resuscitate him at first, but at all measures, like, if this is what's going to save his life, like, do it. And they ended up breaking one of my dad's ribs. And so now it's like, oh man, like, okay, cool. So they call us in the room at the hospital, you know, where it's closed off. It's just you and all the important people in the room. And they asked us, like, what do y'all want to do? Like, do y'all want to take him off everything and just let him kind of go on his own or whatever? And y'all, that was one of the hardest things to sit through and to, like, really understand, because, like, it was heavy. Like, this is our dad. Like, we don't really know, like, how to make a serious decision like that. And then to kind of see, like, the adults in the room having to, like, really make that decision, but allowing us to answer too, it was crazy. So that was the first night. And so the second day, because I really think it was only 2 days span, or maybe 3 days. But I remember I went to work, which I was working at the credit union, and I went to work, and I was working at EFCU on Scenic, and which is like a credit union here in Baton Rouge. And I remember getting my till, counting my till down, and by the time I finished fully counting my till, my mom called me and was like, your dad passed. And I just remember, like, come get me. Like, I'm not even finna stay at work and try to complete the day. Come get me. And so my mom, she came and got me. And we go to the hospital, y'all. Here you go, round 2. But I want to mention the night before, though. The night before, y'all, some of my dad's friends came, and, like, we all huddled in a circle. And I do want to mention too, like, T. Joe was praying over his feet, and every time, y'all, she prayed, she was like, anytime she said, like, Jesus bless, encouragement like that, like, y'all, I'm telling you, the way I was hitting my body, like, you would think that I was crazy. And I wish, while this was happening, that somebody got it on video. Like, I really wish somebody would have been recording, but they didn't. And so, like, the next night, my dad's friends came and they prayed. We all in a circle. I was like, I can't even hold hands, like, with the people I'm around, because I'm still so caught up in the spirit to, like, speaking for my dad and things like that. And I remember, like, they praying, and the guy ended the prayer. He was like, Lord, your will be done. And I just remember people coming into the room, like, earlier, and, like, Rick's ex-girlfriend at the time, Markeisha, like, she grabbed his hand, y'all. And, like, in my previous video, I was telling y'all, like, you're not to touch the body at all. Like, I don't really know the in-depth of, like, what that actually signifies, like, but I know, like, you cannot touch their body. And, like, it was a certain way his hand had to be placed, like, beside him in the bed. Like, it had to be a certain way. And she grabbed his hand. She was like, Shanea, like, when you looked at me, like, you had fire in your eyes. And if you read the Bible, y'all know what that means. And so I was like, I wasn't trying to scare you. Like, I don't even know that this is happening, like, outside of myself. So she was like, Shanea, you scared me. And I, like, put my dead hand back down like it was supposed to be. And then, like, my TN, she was, like, on the opposite side of the bed. And I just remember being like, who is the bank? Like, who is the bank? Who do y'all nickname called it? And just so happened that was what my dad called Uncle Reggie. Once once all that was happening, like my auntie Ann was on one side of the bed and I was like on the opposite side, and she was humming a song, and I was like, that's my dad's favorite song. And they was like, and she just started singing it out loud, and like everybody was kind of like singing along with her. And then like the nurse that was with him, like the night before he just went without talking anymore, he was like, he always asks, where's my daughter, where's my daughter? And that just brought me to tears, because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's why I couldn't sleep. Like he was calling for me, and I literally was like, why can't I sleep? And so we was like, dang, that's pretty crazy. And so after after that after that, I remember later that night, like I was saying, like his friend came and we all huddled in a circle and was praying. I was still, y'all, like hitting my legs and like just doing like outer body motions, like. And I remember T Trisha walked past the room, and I was like, T Trisha, your mom said it's gonna be okay. She started crying, and then Carolyn, her mom passed, and I was like, Carolyn, your mom said everything's gonna be okay. And Carolyn's like 6 foot tall, y'all, and she just dropped to her knees. And I was like, oh my God, like I don't want to be telling people nothing and that be their reaction. Like I don't want them to hurt themselves, or like I don't want them to feel bad. And like Carolyn ended up coming up to me and hugging me. And you know, this is my size. Carolyn's like 6 foot, so she way bigger than me. And she gave me a hug, and she was like, Shanea, when I hugged you, like you were like a big size, like you felt big. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that let me know, like, he was in my body trying to talk and say. And like what I was telling y'all previously in my video, if I never said anything like what he was trying to say, like my throat would hurt so bad, like it will burn like nothing. And so I would say everything, or like if I didn't say it, like that would make me hit my body and stuff like that. And so like the next day he ended up passing. But that night after they prayed, I remember going in his bathroom and I threw up. And it wasn't like food or substance or nothing like that, because mind you, all I had that day was a smoothie. And so there was nothing for my body to throw up. And y'all, it was literally like white Sprite, really. Like it wasn't like thick, it was just like white. And I was like, his spirit leaving my body. And that's all I could think of. And I remember calling Prophetess Marsha. I was like, Prophetess Marsha, like, just tell me, like, my dad's in the hospital and I don't think he's gonna make it. And she never, y'all, she never told me that he was gonna pass. And I think she was protecting me from what that was gonna look like, so I can experience like everything that I experienced. And I respect that woman wholeheartedly, because like she taught me so much, and I just cannot wait till I'm really like under their ministry, man. So that happened. And I remember like when they came to like take all the stuff out of his body and like, you know, put him in a body bag and stuff, take him to the funeral home, I didn't look at his body at all. Like I didn't want to be in the room or nothing like that, because I feel like over the course of the couple of days we were there, like I remember like just like, nah, I'm not finna do this. And so like they get everything together, they put him in a bag, and they're like rolling him out, y'all. And by the time he comes out the threshold, and like I would say by the time the gurney was like at his waist, I looked at my cousin Janelle and I was like, Janelle, I feel like I'm about to pass out. And y'all, by the time it hit that waist point on that gurney, I hit the floor, and I passed out right there. And so like my mom came, she picked me up, y'all, and at that moment when I passed out, I knew that it was done. Once he completely was rolled out and I had passed out, I knew it. My mom came, y'all, and my mom was literally carrying me like a baby, like got me on her shoulder, and my mama walked that full hallway, elevators, down the elevators, out the lobby to her car. And I'm screaming, I'm boo-hooing, and We get in the car, my mama get in, and she's on the phone with Tanya, and Tanya was like, who is that? And my mom's like, that's Nay. And my mom was like, Shanea, where you want to go? I was like, take me to my daddy's house, because he was at Arsenal on O'Neill. I was like, take me to my daddy's house. And we go to Walker, y'all. I go to my dad's house. I go in his bed, and I'm just wailing, crying. Like, I'm screaming, crying, and I'm just in his bed, like, just bawling. And I remember, like, Jamie came in there, and she kind of, like, hugged me. I don't know. I don't remember, like, if she laid in the bed with me or not for a second and then left. Because I feel like she did that, and I just cried and cried, y'all. I had to been crying for about 10, 15, 20 minutes. Like, it was hard crying. And I cried so hard to the point where, like, I fell asleep. And, like, people outside, I can hear them. They was like, that's Shanea. Like, oh, my God. Like, Jesus, oh, my God. And I remember, like, that being my moment with him, like, just to get it all out, because that was hard. Like, that was so hard from somebody that you grew up with, that taught you life lessons, like, that taught you how to stick together with your brothers, like, taught you, like, whenever you need something, this is what you do. He had us in church every Sunday. Like, he did not play that, y'all. And, like, we couldn't really go to people's houses out there. Like, everybody would come to us. So, like, if we did spend the night, it was somebody that was, like, in our sight. And, like, that was it. He didn't play that. And so, like, I remember, like, just like, dang, like, he gone. Like, man, this is crazy. And y'all, at the funeral, like, when I say he knew so many people, y'all, like, so many people. And I remember being on the front row, and I'm just like, I don't even want to be this close. Like, I already got a knot in my stomach. Like, I don't want to do this. And y'all, at the funeral, to me, like, another thing, well, like, two things that I experienced personally. I don't know if anybody else seen it outside of me, but my Uncle Beep came to me, and this is why I respect my Uncle Beep so much. Like, he's a pastor, and he's seen, like, the anointing from start to finish, from the whole, I was about to say hotel, from the hospital to the funeral. And he came, he called me, he was like, Shanea, stand up. And y'all, I just was like, I already knew, and, like, he prayed over me, and I'm, like, crying, and I sit back down, and now, like, they about to do the line, like, when they passed the body for the last time. And everybody that passed, y'all, every time you hug me, hit the floor. Every time you pass, hit the floor. Like, the spirit was so high, man. And, like, that's why I don't take it for granted, and that's why I wanted to share this journey with y'all, so y'all can kind of see, like, why, like, people lash to me, and why people, like, really are comfortable around me, because I'm so, like, nurturing. I'm so, like, easy to talk to. I'm so, like, understanding. So if I can leave you with anything, whatever hardships you're facing, whatever difficulties you may be going through, go to God. Pray about that situation. Do not include everybody in the things that you're trying to do. Take it to God in prayer, and believe by faith that you shall have what you say in that prayer, because it is just the faith the size of a mustard seed that will take you and carry you through, and help you and push you through to your destiny. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to keep giving y'all these videos, because I know that it's encouraging people, and I know people want to see me in this light. So comment down below if you've experienced anything like this when it comes to death. And it's many occasions where I have, and it won't just be death videos, but I just kind of want to give you the reality of the spirit and the physical. and what that looks like for real. So I love y'all. My name is Shanea. You can follow me on all social media platforms. My tags are Nene Way. And my name on Facebook is Shanea. So yeah. Thank you for watching episode 2. Until the next video.